Apparently, you're not supposed to smoke on YouTube, but I like to. I like
I think
to bend the rules.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're in China. You can be a little bit of a rebel. Okay.
Yeah. Here we
Looks
go.
like
We're live.
and we already got a couple comments from Tourette and Flat Earth Sage, but I don't know when that was because it says 3 p.m. and it's 2 p.m. my time. I don't know. Oh, there's Arwen. Arwen's like,
Hello,
right
Arwen. That's. I don't see from Tarot and Flat Earth Sage. I don't see anything. I just see Arwen saying hello.
It's probably a comment they made like while waiting for the live stream to start because I set it as a premiere. So
Gotcha.
but they there. But yeah. I wanted to I when I came home from work last night, Bobby was watching a live stream on YouTube, kind of like how we are live streaming now, but it was Jay Dyer, and I said I know that name, and I know I've talked to Clutch about it, and I couldn't remember why we brought it up, but I know that Bobby said he has a book. He's read one of his books, and he wanted me to ask you like where you learned about him from, and I was pretty sure that you and I had kind of talked about conspiracy theories and things like that, and that's how
I think I just stumbled across him because he's into orthodoxy. So I think that's how I came across him to begin with. And then I noticed that he talks about conspiracy theories, predictive programming, CIA, all that stuff. And I just kind of, I dug him. Sometimes he can be a little heady to listen to, like a little bit, he's an intelligent guy, so it can be hard. And sometimes he's a little like he took too much Adderall and he can kind of be annoying at times. But for the most part, I like him.
Okay, Arwen said
that's just my opinion.
Dyer is Orthodox Christian and into esoterica and social engineering.
Esoterica.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he has segments on InfoWars. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Hey, Fiber. Hey, Joe. Jeebus, I smoked a whole bag of pot yesterday.
I need a babysitter, Joe.
Like I said, I'm almost 6 months. Almost 6 months now. What is the date today? The 12th.
Today
on the 18th, I'll be 6 months.
6 months.
On the 18th, I'll be 6 months. Crazy. And like for me, I was like Willie Nelson levels of smoking weed. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not proud of it, but like that's just, and I've been smoking since my whole life, like since I was like 15, man.
Wow. And you have not touched any for 6 months. But that's great.
Feels nice to be clear. I will smoke again at some point, I'm sure. Just never daily again. That's I never want to do it daily. That's my goal. Just for fun.
Joe Morgan says, if there is Adderall, you better share. He said, was my first joint in over 10 years. Oh, Joe, nice. Yesterday was your first in 10 years.
No wonder went hard in the paint.
Wow.
Especially nowadays. Pot nowadays, like some of it is like 30% THC.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like when you were a kid, I was a kid, it was 10.
Yeah.
So now it's like, that's huge. That's a huge jump.
I had an old neighbor that his partner would smoke a lot. And I don't know, I want to say like once a month, he would end up in the hospital. He would cough and gag and choke, and it was because of the THC would make him sick, and he would get so sick and cramp up, like his whole body would cramp. Does that make
I
sense?
can't remember what it's called. No, it absolutely does. It's weird because it can help you with nausea and that sort of thing. But there's also, if you overuse it, it can destroy your digestive system. It can make it hard to, it'll give you stomach problems. Yeah, there's an actual name for it. I can't remember it. You probably could look it up and it would tell you the name of it. But it's like cannabis-induced something. It's it's pretty bad.
What kind of search?
It can also make you go, just stomach issues caused by cannabis. It'll pop right up.
I'm gonna go to Google because I know how much you hate that. Let's see here. Stomach issues. Oops. Induced by cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
I spelled cannabis wrong. Sorry. So, newly understood condition can occur among people who use marijuana as little as once or twice a week. It's called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, CHS. Repeated episodes of severe nausea, abdominal pain, and vomiting. Yes, that returns every few weeks or months. That's exactly what he would. Yeah, that's exactly what this guy would go through. And it wasn't just like laying in bed not feeling well. It was like emergency room. You know, can't breathe because you're gagging so hard. Craziness. So.
Yeah, it's not only that, it can cause psychosis.
Right. Joe called it devil grass. I remember you called it devil lettuce.
The devil's lettuce, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, it was fun, but no more devil grass. That's good.
No, it's a weird mistress. You really got to just use it sparingly, and it's not meant for everyday use. It really isn't. It's not good for you. I can't believe I'm saying that of all people, because even a year ago I wouldn't have said that probably, but it's not what it's meant for. Yeah, hell yeah.
Joe says he's glad he didn't send that pic of him high. Oh yeah, Joe, don't send the picture out when you're high or drunk or anything. That stuff never goes away. That's funny. But yeah, I was talking about Jay Dyer, the books, and I can't remember what the subject was that Bobby and I were talking about, but I just know I'd spoken about him with you before, and that's one of the books and stuff that, I don't know, that I think Bobby just finished or something like that. He's been reading a lot of, we have books that we ordered on Amazon. I was going to tell you about called Esoteric Hollywood or Esoteric Hollywood. And the picture on the book is the pyramid, you know, and we watched the movie JFK with Kevin Costner and Joe Pesci. Have you seen that one?
Multiple times. It's really good.
It is really good. This was the first time I saw it. And I gotta tell you, dude, I didn't expect there to be so much involvement with like the homosexuality and the CIA thing. Well, the CIA thing I kind of knew about, but it was just really good. But there was so many moving parts. It was a lot.
That whole thing it's wild. Like, for sure, and this is my opinion, I think it was LBJ. That's who I think it was. And I think he had his people in the CIA help him with that, Secret Service. And yeah, they did it for multiple reasons, you know, like him not wanting to go to Vietnam. That was a big one.
Well,
the Bay of Pigs. Go ahead.
Yeah. You remember Donald Sutherland's character in the movie X? That
Deep
guy
Throat.
X? Yeah. I'd heard this for years too, but he insinuated that war equals money. And
Well, it does.
that to me is always like the biggest motivator. But I also think that a lot of these wars, or bankers' wars, as we call them, kind of come from certain families.
There's a general. Two things I want to say. But first thing, the general, you could look him up right now. He wrote a book called War is a Racket. You should look him up. Everyone should read that book. War is a Racket.
War is a Racket. All right. Let me share. Sorry, I forget I'm not sharing screen. Fiber Oats says, "Oh, he got psychosis, but only when he abused it." He was talking about smoking. Let's see here.
Oh, there it is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Fiber.
So now,
even paranoia is a form of psychosis.
War is a Racket.
Yeah.
I guess there was a film. 1981. Oh, 1981 book preview.
No. The author's
Smedley?
name. I can't remember the name of the general.
General
But
Smedley.
this general,
Butler, right here.
Yeah, he was like a top-notch, high-ranking military guy, and he figured out what was going on. And it's like you said, it's banker wars, it's a racket, it's all about money. And he quit, and it's amazing, dude. This is amazing.
I think
and speaking of which,
online.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
Huh.
I'm not here to preach fear porn, and I'm not about that, and you guys know that about me. I think we're in WW3 right now, and I think it's like going to kick off this summer. You know that Russia just brought their warships and nuclear subs to Cuba. They're aiming their shit at the U.S. Shit is about to pop off, and they're broke. Like, America is broke. They need this war. Not only to distract, but they need it financially. And the U.S., you know what SWIFT is? It's like the way that the U.S., it's the way that the dollar is propagated throughout the world. And the American currency is the world currency. And everything has to be bought in that. And now Saudi Arabia is allowing oil to be sold in rubles, which is crazy. Now, when all this money, when they are able to switch over, and all that money that's overseas comes flooding back, all those dollars come flooding back into the economy in America, it is going to, what's going to happen? Your economy is going to bust. It's going to be terrible. Right. It's going to be like 1950s, like what happened to the British pound in the 50s. It set off a depression, sort of. It'll be like the Great Depression of the 30s. It's bad what's about to happen. So they need that war because they're going to lose their prominence as the world power, as the world currency. And I don't know if it's by design or it's got to be by design. They can't be this stupid.
Well,
there can't be.
I was going to say, I want to throw in like a little bit of the religious aspect too, because you know how people always do. There's that whole end time stuff.
Yeah.
But when I read that Left Behind series, I wouldn't say I'm recommending it for anybody to read. It's very, very fictional because everything in it, of course, is about more of the rapture and how, you know, but there are certain elements of that book, that story that I think falls into place here. And one of them was World War III. Another one was a one world currency. And another one was a one world religion, right? Um, a lot of those things sound like things that I'm already hearing coming into play now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the World War III part, I just feel like that's going to be a matter of time as well. So it's like, yes,
When they were in
I,
World War II, they
there's
never
certain,
said, "Hey, we're in World War II." You know, same thing as World War III. They're not going to say we're in World War III until we're deep into it. But Russia also declared the U.S. an enemy. They've
yeah.
never done that before. They officially declared them enemy. It's gonna shit. That shit's gonna kick off.
What do we got for like the strongest world powers? It's like the U.S., Russia, China.
India.
I was gonna say, like, there's some countries that have a pretty effective military, and then of course there's North Korea with
The
their
U.S.
nuclear.
probably has the most technology, but I don't know that they have the most people or the best
Yeah,
army anymore. Especially
no.
with all the woke nonsense
I was about to
and the
say
women and
that was like all the don't ask, don't tell stuff going. I don't. That's. I'm sorry. That was really mean. Like it's just
no,
too
it's
much.
not mean.
Yeah, but it's like it's just too much political nonsense in the military now. I don't know. What did
They're
Fiber Oat said? Time to get
go ahead.
strong and then be strong. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I went to a okay. So I went to a doctor's appointment at the VA this morning, and
Hmm.
by the way, nice weather. So I was talking to this nurse, and she
Nice
was
weather.
yeah, because all I saw were clouds
Oh,
in Europe.
oh, I was getting my dog some water. It's hot out here.
But she was talking about like some books and stuff, like because she and I were talking about canning, just women stuff. Like, oh, I love to can
Mm-hmm.
tomatoes and all this stuff. And she was talking about how she's got a root cellar now and she's storing all this food and stuff like that. And she did kind of mention like a book that she read that scared the hell out of her about what would happen if like the economy collapsed and the government started trying to take over and people were starting to basically shit hitting the fan, right? And she said because of that book, that's why she's storing like all this food. And she's telling me this stuff like, I don't know. I don't know if I would be telling anybody what I would be storing and what I'm doing, but she starts telling me about all this food she's saving up in her root cellar because of a book that talked about like World War III type situation. So I don't know if it's
In
necessarily
World War in World
everybody.
War II, they told people to grow gardens, right? They were
Yeah.
called victory gardens. They wanted people because there was food shortages, and there's going to be huge shortages now. It's going to be it.
Well,
I mean, like, don't be afraid. Like, we're here. We're here because God wanted you here at this time, and whatever happens, happens. Like, there's no. Don't get all fucking paranoid. Don't freak out. Don't like. There's nothing. Just ride the. Just enjoy the ride as best you can. Do what you got to do, and things will play out the way they're meant to play out.
you
Just because there's a war doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And I'm not worried about nukes because I don't think they're what they describe. There's not going to be a giant nuclear winter and devastation like that. There's big giant bombs that can wreak havoc, but not the way they say, in my opinion. That's just what I feel, but whatever.
ironically, if you put all your energy into a bomb shelter, you're likely to just get shot by somebody trying to rob your house. So, I mean, there are more imminent threats in a situation like that. Um, we got comments coming in. Joe says, that was a good meal. I'm stuffed. Fiber Oats says, and you were just saying this. Fiber Oats said it's time to get strong. I agree with that. Joe said, meanwhile, we have a one world deep state set up to strip us of our natural freedoms. You were talking about food shortage, but you also mentioned about how much they're inflating, or what's a good word for it? They're making it impossible for you to buy groceries where you live, right?
Oh, well, there's a carbon tax here now. Like a pound of butter is just about $10 in some places here. Just butter.
God.
Yeah, it is. Like the prices, they're fucking nuts here right now. It's expensive to feed your family here. We're facing an election, so this carbon tax might get destroyed, but
try to make it's good.
There was some things I wanted to respond to. We do have a one world deep state. When he says be strong, that saying, weak men create hard times create strong men, strong men create good times. So yeah. So there is good times on the horizon, just got to go through some shit. My old dude's still in intensive care. He tried to, I don't know if he's saying what I think he's saying, but if that's the case, I'm sorry, Morgan. Like, that's fucked. I went through that, and it never gets better. You're always going to miss them. Read a book called Cormac, The Road. Oh, that is a good book. There were never nuclear bombs. There was only fire bombs. Yeah, look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They were hit by nukes and or atomic bombs, but they didn't. It was just a firebomb. It was just giant fire bombs. That's all it is. You should look into a guy named Galen Windsor. That guy, like, he ate plutonium. I think it was, or no, uranium, not plutonium. Pretty sure it's uranium. He like swam inside the water from nuclear power plants. It's
what?
Dresden. What's he say? Yeah, Galen Windsor. Look him up. I think it's Galen Windsor. Pretty sure that's his name.
I wanted to look up The Road by McCormack, or by Cormac McCarthy.
Cormac McCarthy. He's the same guy who made No Country for Old Men. There's a movie about the road as well. It's pretty intense. It's like a dude who it's a father and a son traveling the post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Oh yeah, I see.
It's pretty good.
Okay. And what was the other thing you wanted to? You said Dresden, or was it something else?
I think Arwen said something about Dresden. Yeah, it was the German firebomb city that nobody in the mainstream likes to talk about. Is that it's not the. I'm not going to say the name wrong. The Rhine something. It's like a building that burns down. I forget. Maybe Arwen knows.
Maybe somebody in the chat knows. There's my friend Vinny. Vinny said weakest U.S. government ever. Yeah, and just getting worse.
Weakest president ever. That's for sure. Well, he's not your president. He's only your puppet. I think Obama's the real. Obama's the guy behind the scenes there, pulling those strings.
The puppet master. It's a good movie too. Book is better. See, I always like the book.
Book's always better.
Yeah.
Always.
So Reichstag?
The Reichstag. Yeah, that's it.
See, somebody in the chat always has the answer. Let's see. The Reichstag fire. The Reichstag fire?
Dresden. I think that's what kicks off the. I can't remember. I got so much information battling around in my brain, I forget shit. I think that fire starts. What does it start? I think that's what helps Hitler get power or something.
Oh wow.
But I
see
think Dresden. I think the Dresden firebombing. I'm not sure what Arwen's talking about there. I don't know.
A lot of interesting pictures, that's for sure. Hi, Charlie.
I don't know what he's barking at.
Soviet troops occupied the Berlin Reich and planted the Soviet flag on its roof. It's talking about an incident in 1945. Wow, there's so many different things you could.
Yeah, that's the fire that he uses to take power. That's right. Yeah, that's what. I was right there. Another ancient building being burned down. Yeah, the Nazi Party absolutely started that fire. Yeah, you know, like World War II is such a fucking mystery to me, and like who is good, who is bad, what really happened, what didn't happen. There's so much misinformation there. It is wild. I don't know. I even played you those speeches by Mean Mr. Mustache that were in English. Pretty interesting, eh?
That was trippy to listen to. It actually kind of gave me like goose pimples. It was weird because there was a lot of, that he carried himself very well. I mean, it was strange to say.
Weird it took almost 100 years for that to be translated. Like there was no one who could have translated that before. Really? It took an AI to do that? Okay.
Nobody wanted to, but then again, even if somebody had translated it before, whether in writing or just verbally, the hearing like it in his voice with his inflection, I think that adds a lot to the creepiness of it. I was just like, wow.
I didn't find it creepy. I found it very insightful. Like what he's talking about, he's got a point. Like as much as people are gonna fucking smear me now for saying that, he's got a point. And the things that happened to them after the Balfour Declaration and all that stuff, and how they were made to pay all those reparations, and what happened to their economy, and how their culture was subverted, and all the, what's the word I'm looking for? All the, what's the word I want? The degradation of their culture and the debauchery that was happening at that time.
Yeah.
What wouldn't you want to protect your country from that?
Protect it from
like
interest. That was
from those things that were happening.
The creepy part to me was that the AI could do that so well. But yes, I did find a lot of what he was saying also to be kind of the feel of what our people are going through now. It's like it's something, I guess I could see why a lot of people followed him so easy, because it's like what they wanted to hear. Do you know what I mean? Like it sounds like something that people would want to hear now. Like, yes, that's how I feel. And it's kind of, he knew how to touch on people's what would get them motivated. And I guess that's the definition of a true motivational speaker. But he was saying things, and I kept thinking to myself, like, this is all the same stuff we're going through now. This is all the same stuff people are trying to throw out there now.
Absolutely. History repeats itself. And those who don't learn from it are doomed to repeat it, right? So we're repeating it right now. And it's all the same problems. It's all like look how gross culture is now. And all that woke bullshit. And they're not. Like, no one cared what they were doing. Like, in the 90s, it was done. No one gave a shit anymore. Go ahead, be gay. Do what you wanted to do. No one cared. I didn't care. No one I knew who cared. Now it's the exact opposite. You're forcing me to take on your values. Why am I not entitled to my values? You can live your life. You can do what you want. I'm not trying to stop you, but you don't have to preach that to me. I don't have to agree with you. And certainly my kids don't need to hear about it. They don't need to hear how to butt fuck in their fucking, like, I'm sorry to be crass about that, but they're teaching them how to have anal sex and blowjobs. It's in school libraries. What the fuck? Why do we need that? Why? Why? Tell me, like, explain that to me. Anyone who wants to talk to a kid about sex, I got some serious questions for you. Because I have kids, and I don't want to have to talk to them about that. I know at some point I have to explain what it is to them, but I don't want to talk to them about it. It's fucking weird. And I definitely don't want to talk to some stranger kids about it. That's weird. Like, what's your deal? Like, I want to see what's on your computer. I think you should be investigated. You're a creep. Like, what the fuck? And I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to be crass, but it's just, it bothers me a lot.
And is as it should, because 2 points here. One, it's the culture, and Obama let it slip years ago where he insinuated that it would be the government's job to help raise our kids. It should not be the government's job to raise our kids. We're the parents. We should raise them. And secondly, you talk about, like, and I'm referring to pedophiles, like these perverts that are out there trying to read stories to children, and, you know, everybody's trying to normalize those people, like, oh, it's okay to be autistic, you know, and you know, we need to work with handicapped people. They're treating pedophiles like it's a disability that we should accept, and we need to, you know, accept them into, let them do what they want to dream of doing, or something to that. I don't agree with that. It is not okay.
They're calling them MAPS now, minor attracted people, and they have their own flag. It's fucking gross. It is, and it's exactly what you're saying. And what you were saying about the state raising your kids, that's happening here. There's a big fight where there's MPs saying you don't have a right to your children, and it's basically their job to raise them. And that's fucking whack, man. The only thing that schools should do is teach them how to read and write and to do math, you know, basic science, that kind of stuff. They shouldn't be I don't want any politics or anything else of that nature. That is none of their business.
Right.
And it's a big problem. And people are fighting back. Like, even here in Canada, there's a like, it's like a anti-protest in June now. Instead of the Pride Month, there's kids who are dressing in red and white and leaving school, and red and white because that's the Canadian colors, right, for our flag.
Oh, yeah.
And they're leaving school. They're having marches against that. There was the 1 million person march or something. There's like this huge backswell against that. And like, if they would have just left it alone and lived their lives, none of this would be happening. But now they're saying they're coming for your children, and people are, oh, you're paranoid. They're actually saying that. There's people saying that. So, of course, people are going to fight back. No, they're not. They're saying the quiet part loud.
And, you know, the parents that are actually standing up to this, you see their stuff on social media, or somebody reposts it on social media. They're painted out like, oh, look at this bigoted, ignorant parent. You know, no, this is a parent that loves their child and wants them raised right. You know, I remember growing up, and there are several things that I remember my dad specifically told me you do not talk about in conversation with strangers. It's sex, money, religion, and politics. It's just none of other people's business what those 4 categories are to you. That's between you and your family. And that's people now, that's all they talk about. And it's in each other's face, and they're forcing it on everybody. It's none of your business what I believe in those 4 categories. You know, just you do your thing, I'll do mine. Arwen made a comment, because if the kids are not fooled into godless behavior at a young age, they won't be able to trick them into it at a later age. The age of information makes people figure things out much faster. they are trying to get them young because that's where they really absorb a lot of their core values. My brother
See,
Vinny.
Gen Z is. Go ahead.
Oh, Vinny said families should raise their kids. Yeah, that's how it's intended. The government that dictates how families should be and what they should believe in want to dictate how families should be and what they should believe in. That's right. Because if we don't think for ourselves, we can't rebel against the government if we don't know any better. But what were you going to say?
What was I going to say?
I got you. Sorry. Sorry about that.
I'll look at the comments. Maybe I was going to say Gen Z is fucked. They're lost. But the generation after them, I think they're called Generation Alpha. They're actually awake. I don't want to say woke. They're awake to the tricks. They're becoming more conservative than ever before. It's like this giant wave of conservatism in this younger generation. It's wild to see. Another thing I was going to say, I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's Gen, right. Like there's Gen X, there's boomers, then Gen X, which would be us, then the millennials, then Gen Z, and then it's Generation Alpha. It's Z that's the lost one.
I think I stopped paying attention.
And the boomers.
The rainbow flag got more than 5-6 colors. So
let's take that rainbow flag back. We should take it back. The rainbow belongs to us. Maybe I'll wear one.
Taste the rainbow. You remember that slogan?
Another thing I was going to say is at local schools here, they're trying, and I don't know how to word this, they're trying to say like, oh, what's your culture? What is your culture at home? What kind of foods do you eat? What is your blah, 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 all this. And it pissed me off because you know what our culture is? Canadian culture. And they try to say that we don't have Canadian culture. And that's bullshit because we have a culture. It's very similar to the U.S. culture. There's slight differences, granted, but we're very similar. And we do have a culture. And we do have foods that we eat. Hamburgers, steaks, fries. I mean, maybe they're not the greatest, most fancy French cuisine.
You guys have fries, that poutine fries. It's amazing. It's the best fries ever. You guys take fries to a whole new level.
Canada does do some things right. But yeah, no, like we have culture. We have celebrations of Christmas pageants. That's part of our culture. It's all these things that they're trying to take away from us. And then they're like, oh, celebrate this culture, celebrate that culture. Diversity is not our strength. It is our weakness. It is our weakness. It's what divides us. And if we went to any one of those countries right now, I guarantee you they would not fucking change their annual holiday tradition or what foods they ate or encourage us to celebrate whatever it is we did in our home country. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit and makes me crazy.
Well, you know,
you're going to get Clutch all worked up.
I joke, but in a way I'm kind of like poking fun at, I don't know, the woke culture. But like in February, I kept asking my boss, like, do I get a day to celebrate my Black heritage? And they'd laugh. But at the same time, it's like, isn't that why you're putting all these holidays on the calendar so everybody will celebrate it and be aware? And then what? Only certain people are allowed to celebrate it? Because if I'm not Black or if I'm not Indian American, I'm not allowed to acknowledge that that's a holiday. It just aggravates me because like it's on the calendars on your computer, even on the printed calendars. If anybody ever has any of those anymore, they have all these like culturally, I don't know, like Indigenous Peoples Day. Do you guys have that in Canada? Yeah, I would think you would. Yeah. So
and that really weirds me out. Like,
what are we supposed to do?
That,
why is it on the calendar?
you guys have a black national anthem now too, don't you?
Do we?
I'm pretty sure you do.
It's hilarious. No, I don't mean. Okay, I gotta look it up. Do you think it would let me?
I know, like that confuses me about. I'm not kidding. That confuses me about the indigenous people, especially here in Canada, because they want to be treated as a separate nation. But
yeah,
then they always are suing the federal government for this or that, or want the government's help for this or that. So it's like they're separate when it suits them, but when it doesn't suit them, they don't pay taxes the way the rest of us do. It's fucking bullshit, man. I'm gonna get all worked up.
You're right. James Weldon
I told
Johnson,
you.
Lift Every Voice and Sing is often referred to as the Black National Anthem, originally written in 1899, celebrating Abraham Lincoln's birthday by Johnson. Oh, wow. Okay. Learned something new today. Well, you know,
I don't like.
Is there two?
I'm going to respond to Fiber here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't like to get pissed off in general. I sometimes get worked up and I get passionate about what I'm talking about, but I really revere peace and I appreciate what it is, and I don't like to get mad or pissed off in general. So yeah.
I don't want to get Clutch pissed off at me. But you don't generally get mad, though. I notice, and I'm actually talking to Fiber Oats now, but it seems like you don't really get mad. You do get passionate, because I've had times where I'm like, okay, so how about the Mariners? But you get passionate, but it's not personal. Like a minute later, when the
no, it's not
changes,
personal.
We're right back to square one. So it's not an emotional anger ever. He said, "Me too, man."
No, I don't.
Yeah. He's got.
But I do get like yeah, it is passion. That's what it is. But I'm never mad. Like I get passionate, but I don't get angry. Like I'm not really an angry person in real life. Like I'm not going around yelling at people at the grocery store. Or, you know, I'm a very calm guy. People would never really think of me as an angry person. They might sometimes think that they don't want. I'm not trying to sound like. Sorry, I'm scratching my back. I can't use my other arm to reach over. Sometimes people feel like and I don't get it. They feel I'm intimidating, but I really don't try to be. I don't try to act tough or
the beard.
Be a big man, but it's the beard. My daughter won't let me shave it off. She's like, no, my kids think. My daughter won't let me shave it off because she thinks I look weird without it now. But my kids think that when I was young, when I'm really young, they think I look like a movie star. And then when I'm in my 30s, they think I look like a mob boss. And now they just think I look, I don't know what they think now.
I wouldn't know what to picture you like without the beard, though. And the sunglasses, to be fair. I mean, I've seen you plenty without the sunglasses, but with it, it's clutch.
It's me, yeah.
That's you. Oh, yeah. The Fiber says he's got so much passion. See, there's people.
But you can.
What? Go ahead.
He takes his out on his paintings. Like, I'm not talking about you, Fiber. I just before we went live, I mentioned that we spoke yesterday, and I had complimented you on your painting and how you're able to get your emotions out onto canvas, and how I envied that. And I think that's such a cool talent. And then I mentioned what you had said in response to me to Cold Springs here, and I said like how touched I was by it, and what a nice comment it was, and how that was something that it's always kind of been there, but I've kind of run away from that talent in the past. I wouldn't embrace it for some strange reason. I'm not exactly sure. Why? I think maybe because it can be used to manipulate people, and that bothers me. I don't want to manipulate anyone.
For the record, I agree with Fiber. You know, like I said, people were really glad when you finally started talking on the live stream, because what you project, I mean, it's very influential. And he says that was true. So you do have a talent for speaking. I wanted to point out I'm more passive aggressive. Like if I see something wrong or I feel like I've been wrong, I don't say anything right now, but give me a couple months. You may feel it later.
That's women in general. Women in general. They seem to hold on to everything. It's like my wife will bring something up that I did when I was 25. Like, what? Like, fuck, I don't even remember that. What are you talking? Oh, dude, you looked at that. Like, what? Fuck, sorry. I don't even remember.
It's
just hold on to it.
It's something I try to get away from, because that whole revenge is best served cold is just not. It's not good for you to sit on something and brew. It's better to just get it out, let it go, because it's a burden you carry for yourself. But yeah, you're right. It is a very feminine kind of thing to be passive aggressive. But I try to have
I'd rather just
in a fun way now.
I'd rather just say what I mean and mean what I say. And I won't say anything online that I wouldn't say to someone's face.
Yeah.
Like I'll just, you know,
agreed.
That's kind of, I don't know. Like it's the best way to be, I think.
Like,
you know what? Someone. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupt you a lot.
I'm just gonna say this: like when I met Shulamite in Missouri, it was funny because after we were talking for like 10 minutes, she's like, "Wow, you're exactly the same as you are on the internet." And I was like, "Yeah, it's not an act." So I think it's more beneficial to just be genuine. It's, you know, be yourself. But anyhow, what were you gonna say?
That's the same here. No, I'll just respond to that. Like I'm the exact same. Like the guy you see right now and the guy you hear talking in the chat rooms and here, that's me. I'm not putting on a show. There's no act. I'm just being myself. This is how I really interact with people, how I really speak. There's no, I mean, there's nothing, I don't know. There's nothing.
You really wear the sunglasses and the hat even when you go to the grocery store.
I actually do. I'm not even lying. I wear it inside all the time. The only time I take my hat off is when I'm in my house. That's about it. I've been wearing a hat since I was like, I don't know, like 8 years old, 7 years old. I just like wearing a hat. I love wearing a ball cap. I'm not bald. I have hair. So if people are wondering.
No, Bobby's the same way. It's just, but I have the long hair, so hats don't work well with me. But if I didn't, I think it's that military culture that it almost feels like when, you know, you're indoors, you take it off. When you go outdoors, he always has a hat on, even when he's doing yard work.
Especially. I have a hat for yard work. I have a hat to go to town. But they're all black caps. They're all almost exactly the same. They're just, some are more used than others.
Yeah. Well, once you break it in, it's.
I always wear a black T-shirt. I don't know. It's the way I dress.
And it's so strange.
This guy.
Intimidating.
I don't get that. I honestly don't. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to intimidate people.
I know. I'm just messing with you. Hey, if blacks.
I get a lot of weird things. My son notices that a lot too. He's like, people will just come and speak to me in public, random people, about the most weird shit ever. Like, they'll tell me their problems. Like a random person will just walk up to me and start a conversation like I've known them for 20 years. And my son's like, what? Like, Dad, you know that person? I'm like, no, I never met them in my life. Like, it's just weird stuff. Or they'll be like, I don't know. It's just, I have the weirdest encounters with strangers. It's strange. I don't know. So I don't,
We've talked
that's
about
another reason why I
this,
don't get why people think I'm intimidating, because it's like people come up to me all the time and talk to me. So it's not like and I'm not trying to act tough. I really don't think I'm a tough guy. Like it's not I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just odd.
I know we've talked about this before. I've told you I get the same thing. Like people for some reason just feel like I'm the person to say the most random, and it's very personal stuff sometimes too.
Yeah. It's like, what,
And I'm
you telling me this shit? Like,
and I'm like, are you thinking that I'm somebody else? It confuses me. I'm not kidding.
I know,
and,
it's weird.
I told you about this where I was at Walmart, and I think I was looking at the prices on something, and I was going to take a picture and send it to Bobby to ask him like, hey, do you like this or something? And I see out of my peripheral vision, there's a person over beside me, but she's like 10, 15 feet away. I heard her say something, and I was just kind of not sure. Like, I don't want to look and act like I'm not minding my own business. But then I looked, and she's looking at me, like waiting for a response. And she said something like, I can't remember what it was, but it was something serious about like, I just found out I have to have gallbladder surgery or something. It was just like, I wasn't sure like if there was a punchline. In my mind, I always think things are a joke. And so it was the strangest thing. Like, why would you say that to a complete stranger in Walmart? And not even, it had nothing to do with any of the merchandise around you. I couldn't connect why that was the thing she chose to say. And I get that all the time. Just people telling me the most personal, intimate details. And it leaves me confused because, like, is there something about me that made you think of that connection? You know what I'm saying? It was.
I do. I know exactly what you're saying. It's. I find it the oddest thing in the world. Like,
I got that a lot.
I don't know what. I don't know what to think of it, but like, I don't mind. I like to be that for people in a way. Like, if they, like, what if I help them not self-delete that day? Let's say that. Let's say they're having a horrible day and they just want to share something with someone, and instead of being angry with them or like saying like, fuck off, I don't know you, why are you talking to me? I just was kind to them that day, and that helped them. Or they didn't beat their kid that day because, you know, they weren't angry. Like, you know, like being a positive, you know, I'm sounds stupid, but I'm serious. Like, what?
You saved the dog by.
I'm not saying I saved. I'm not saying like I'm saving people. I'm just like, by being a positive thing in someone's life, maybe you change their day, or you change someone else's day. You know, you don't know. You never know what other people are going through. You have no idea what is happening to those people. And then another thing I think of is that Billy Madison. You ever see Billy Madison? And he's calling all those people he was shitty to, and he calls that Steve Buscemi character, and he says like, "Hey, I'm sorry I bullied you when I was a kid." And then the guy like scratches him off his list, his to kill list, and he puts the lipstick on it, starts humming to himself like, "Hey, you never know, you know."
I remember that. Yeah, you might be that 5 seconds of positive reaction that they needed. I don't know. Because I think back in my life, and there are times when a total stranger has reacted to me in a positive way, and I never forgot it. I don't know their name, and I would never remember why or how we met, but I just remember that small reaction, and I was like, it's going to be okay. So, yeah, maybe you could be that for somebody. You never know.
And what else doesn't it say in the Bible that you don't know when you entertain angels?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't know that you're not talking to an angel. You don't know who you're talking to. You have no idea. It could be a mob boss. It could be a killer. It could be a nun. It could be a priest. It could be an angel. You have no idea who that person is. So just treat everyone with that kindness. You know, like, it's just, I don't know. Why be a dick? Why be a dick?
I got that a lot at the funeral home. For some reason, people would I would have to ask a question for work. It's kind of like, it would be a stupid question, like, do you know the names of the mother and father of the deceased? And then that person would go into this drawn out story about how their parents did this to them, and it got very intimate, and it was hard to reel them back in because you could tell they were going through an emotional conversation, even though I didn't understand it. They were telling me about it. But yeah, I got that a lot in the funeral home. I get that a lot.
I imagine that makes sense to me because people are in a very vulnerable state, and it's easy to talk to a stranger when you're in that state because they know you're never going to tell anybody, and if you do, it doesn't mean anything to anybody because no one knows who they are, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I know what you mean. And you're right. I mean, sometimes just the smallest, thing, smallest comment can change a person's entire, I guess, week. I mean,
everything.
Life every day.
Life could change their life.
People just want to feel like things are going to be okay. Yeah, you're right, Fiber Oats. That's an interesting. Sorry, I'm going to go out into left field because Fiber Oats brought up something that we touched on earlier when I said I saw that movie JFK, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the story was about Garrison, that guy, the DA, right?
Jim Garrison.
Jim Garrison. It consumed him, like to where his marriage was suffering a little bit. According to the movie, I'm just saying, in the movie, I noticed this. There was a part where he and his wife get into this little argument because she was angry that he was letting all these conspiracy theories affect how he was interacting with his family. Like, he was spending so much time on this, and the president was already dead, and he was still trying to delve into, Harvey Oswald and these guys that might have been involved. And she was thinking it was just a waste of time. He wasn't being a good husband. And he was saying, it mattered because it's the truth. He wants to find the truth and not have his children be lied to in the future. And she had a reaction that was like, why does it matter? As long as we're happy, I don't care if it's the truth. And dude, that struck me, just like, there really are people out there that just would rather be lied to as long as it was hunky-dory. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying, Fiber. I'm sorry. You just made me remember the reaction of that wife. And I hope you don't think that's how I'm dogging you, brother. I'm sorry.
It's very apt. It's very apt that you bring that up because yesterday, Fiber, myself, Arwen, and Flat Earth Sage had a 4-person conversation through Skype.
Yeah.
We're just talking, just shooting the shit. And this subject sort of came up twofold. One, what do you do with the people in your life who aren't awake and you can't get them to see? And instead of cutting them out of your life, you need to learn how to relate to them. It's not them that needs to relate to you. You that's an ego thing where you think, I'm right. Can't you see the world's going to shit? They can't because it's exactly what you say. That's not their journey. That's not their path. And they can't see that. They'll never see it. It's not meant for them.
Right.
So you, instead of losing them, you need to find a way to come to relate to them. That's our job, is we need to relate to them. And we don't have to bring up the truth and throw it in their faces. We don't have to rub that shit in their nose and shit and be like, you're stupid. Can't you see? Can't you see? That's not our, and none of us woke up that way. There's not a single person in this chat, in this conversation, who woke up by someone putting their nose in shit and yelling at them. Not one of us. We all woke up in our own way, on our own. So you're not going to do it. You're never going to convince them. So you got to do it. You just got to enjoy maybe it's a mother or a father or a brother or a sister or an old friend. Just enjoy the memories you had. Have a beer with them. Have a steak. enjoy some time with them, and just be with them, and don't talk about that stuff. That's really, because it is true that they would rather, not even that they'd rather, they just can't see it. They're not meant for that. That is not their,
True.
it's not their journey. It's just not.
Right.
So yeah, it's very apt that you brought that up, because that was part of our conversation yesterday, and I just thought I'd share that.
I'm psycho like that. I know what you guys.
Psycho or psychic? I was listening, man.
Oh.
You know what? Someone wanted us to talk about. They wanted us to talk about the rules of baseball.
Really?
Isn't that a weird thing?
Really? That is, but I would,
because they're a cricket fan. I know, like, I don't know exactly like what to say. Like, you go up to bat, you got 3 strikes and you're out. But if you hit a foul ball, that means it goes out. 2 of those is a strike, but the third one is never considered a strike. You could foul consistently after that, and it's never a strike. 4 balls, you got to walk to the first base. You got 3 bases, then the home base is the 4th base. Once you make it there, that's considered a run. You hit it out of the park, that's a home run. You get 3 strikes, you're out, and then you have 3 players you have 3 outs in the inning as well. So if a batter went out, gets up, he strikes out, he's out. The next guy, he's out. The next guy, he's out. That's the end of the first part of the inning. Then it's the bottom of the inning, and it's the next team's turn to try to score. I think that pretty much covers it. I don't know what else to say about the rules of baseball. It is far superior to cricket, in my opinion. But
I was going to tell you.
What are you going to say? I think baseball is the purest sport, in my opinion.
Yes.
It is, because you got the one-on-one, the batter and the pitcher. You've got the team aspect, and then there's all kinds of different strategies involved. It's beautiful. It's my favorite sport. I love it.
Certain times and certain pitchers that kind of like.
That's right. You got left-handers, you got right-handers, you got switch hitters. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game.
I think this is a topic that would be much better if it was you talking to Bobby, because he is the sports guy. I'm going to tell you a little story. I really never even went to baseball games except to go eat the hot dogs and whatever. And but when I started going to the San Francisco Giants game and the Oakland A's game with Bobby, I was the wife in the stands that was like, "Oh my God, he got an inning!" And Bobby's like, "What do you mean? You mean the run?" I was calling innings and runs. I was getting those mixed up. I was, not very, but I will say one thing. I have been to a basketball game for the Warriors, and the Warriors, it was the Warriors versus the Celtics, and it was a birthday present for Bobby, and it was awesome. But it was very high energy. The people that were on different teams were very like, "Oh, fuck you." They were just very passionate about their team.
Tribalistic.
Yeah. But you go to a baseball game, and here is my husband, who is the Oakland A's fan, and I was kind of the newbie San Francisco Giants fan. We're sitting next to another family that are Oakland A's fans, Giants fans. It didn't matter, but we were all sitting back, and then some people were having a beer, and there's a home run, and the team that got the home run was like, "Yeah," and the team that didn't was like, "Good job." And that was it. I mean, everybody was so chill. I definitely prefer a baseball game over that basketball game time. I felt like a fight.
I've been to basketball. Yeah, I've been to basketball, football, baseball, UFCs, you name it. And definitely a baseball crowd is a much mellower crowd than any of those others.
I had
less
so much fun.
tribalistic,
Yep.
more into the stats and the science of the game. Yeah, it's a whole different,
I can't even
it's a different
imagine
ball game.
Dude, can you imagine?
Hockey games are, whew, they're
I'll be
intense, dude.
exhausted.
It's intense.
Yeah.
It's
I
intense.
would freaking, no, it's too my blood pressure.
And you don't want to be, like, you can wear a different jersey, but you're definitely going to get hassled. Like, there's no doubt about it. You're going to get.
So I was going to tell you this. So, you know, Bobby's favorite team in the whole world are the Boston Bruins, right? So I was thinking, now that we have moved closer to the Boston area, maybe it would be fun to go and just kind of like surprise him with some Boston Bruins tickets, right? And I looked up the tickets. I'm not even kidding, dude. The seats from way in the back, the shitty seats, the lowest
Probably
price.
$500.
No, you're not even close. $1,400 at the minimum. 1,400 American dollars minimum for the shittiest seats. Can you imagine the price of the good seats up front? It was like $5,000 each. I couldn't believe it.
Crazy.
I was like, sorry, babe.
That's like Super Bowl, where people are like the Super Bowl. People are paying like $5-10 grand for a ticket. I'm like, what? Yeah. How do you have that money for one, and for two? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, sit at home, sit on the couch, and
doesn't even come with hotel, food, or none of that. That's just sitting in that chair.
Yeah, it's nuts, bro. Nuts.
Maybe he lost in the game, but I was there supporting him. But you were there supporting him. Oh, Vinny said that I may have been lost in the game, but I was there supporting him. That's true. I did go, but I would say I'm so glad I went. It was baseball games are awesome. Do they only have
Arwen. They are nutcases, man. Like some of those, it depends on what sport and what league. Like some leagues are different, and it depends on what market. Like in some cities, the prices will be way lower, and then in other cities, like Boston, that market's going to be, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is, it's whack. Like here, for a hockey game, $500 is going to get you like probably close to the front. Maybe 1,000 for like that very first row, but in the back, like up in the nosebleeds, that's like $50 for a ticket.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. No, Arwen said it too. He's like, "What kind of nutcase would pay that?" Well, I could not even afford that, and if I could, I wouldn't, because that is literally, how long does it take for a hockey game? Like 3 hours, maybe.
Each period is half an hour, so and then 10-minute intermissions.
Right.
So, yeah, like not that long.
Freaking $4 or $5 grand for a few hours.
No, I wouldn't do it.
There better be like a hotel stay included. That is like Disney World, 1 week at Disney World with everything included. I can't even. No.
Disney World, that's expensive. I just looked into it, just not because I really wanted to go, but I don't know, we were talking about it, like we're not going. It was just something I wanted to know how much it would cost, just to know.
Yeah.
For like a family my size to go, we're talking like $15,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you do at least get everything. You get food.
That's
right?
everything. That's like airfare. That's hotel. That's your park passes. That's like the whole thing. But still, like $15,000. I'm not dropping $15,000 on no fucking Disneyland.
I will say this though, Clutch. They will make the experience incredible. I'm not justifying that price, but I am saying I've done it before, and we had a small snafu where we arrived late at night and we could not find the room. And I was so agitated by the time I called the front desk and say, I cannot, all the buildings look alike to me. I cannot find our room. We've been here for an hour and a half, and I was trying to be nice. Okay, they sent somebody, helped us find our room. And then the next day, they like spoiled us. They like made sure that we woke up, we slept well. They showed us where to go for breakfast. And then they gave my son like this credit for a free toy at any one of the gift shops. I mean, they want to make sure that what you spend is well worth the money. I don't know how
I could
else to
spend. Oh, I agree. I'm sure it would be, but for one, I don't want to support evil Disney, and two, I could go. There's Canada Wonderland, which I mean, it doesn't have the same. Canada Wonderland. It's like it's near Niagara Falls. It's like a giant amusement park.
Really?
It'd be way cheaper, and it would be just as fun. I think. Maybe it wouldn't have the Disney characters, but we'd still have a blast, and it'd be like a fraction of the cost.
Canada Wonderland.
Plus, I could drive there.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Niagara.
Did you know
I could drive there. It would take me like maybe 3 days to drive there, but fuck, that's no problem.
Did you know that Disney World now, instead of a fireworks show, they now have a drone show?
No.
Oh my God, you're right. Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know about this. It does. It's got the rides. It's got the little map.
It's got everything.
And instead of a mouse,
yeah, I'd rather go there.
A person in a Canadian geese suit that kids take picture with, then it beats the shit out of the kid, right?
There you go.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, but when you're saying about that drone show, it made me think of two things. You were talking earlier about how you screwed up and you were saying innings at that baseball game.
Yeah.
I went to a Metallica concert. Maybe this is like around 2015, I think, the last time they were in this area. And
Yeah.
I went with a buddy, and he started singing. There's a song called Battery. And he's like singing, Manta Ray, Manta Ray. And he was saying Manta Ray? And I'm like, dude, what are you fucking talking about? And he's like, the song's Manta Ray, right? I'm like, no, it's Battery. Battery. And he's like, oh, shit, I always thought it was about a fish. I was like, what the fuck are you? Like, what a retard. But at that show, they had drones flying around the stage doing, like, weird fucking, like effects. It was awesome. Like, so drone shows could probably be pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen a YouTube video of it, and there had to be at least several thousand drones up in the air, and it's in the night sky, so you don't see them until the lights come on. It was pretty good. I mean, it takes a lot of programming, that's for sure. They call them Imagineers, but I mean, these are just a bunch of nerds having a great time, you know, programming a show. But
Pedos.
What kind of name?
You know how many?
2 months worth of food for a large family for those prices. Yeah, he's right. It's for the extravagant rich.
Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't
No.
do it.
I wouldn't do it again. Now, at the time that we went, it was we got park tickets for like discounted and a lot of things for free because we were in the military. So that's how we ended up starting the adventures in Disney World. And you know, they did create some cool memories. But now that my son is grown, I know that my ex-husband tried to take him back to Disney World when he was like 16. And it was, I think the most fun that they had was taking pictures of my son in the same places that he had pictures when he was 6 years old. So it was funny to see the difference. But my son said, other than that,
my daughter would like it for the Disney princesses because she likes the Disney princesses. You know, and I'm sure there's some cool rides there, you know, that my boys would probably appreciate, like whatever, you know, they're pretty interactive, but for those prices, No way. And I just can't. Like Disney's too woke, and the amount of pedos that have been caught working at their company,
Yes.
I just can't. I can't.
Now,
Yeah, it's just gross. And
it
I
makes
don't
you,
like anything woke. I just won't. I
yeah.
just can't. I can't do it.
Well,
I can't.
when your psychological perspective of the institution changes, you no longer have the same kind of fun. You're not enjoying it because somewhere in the back of your mind you're noticing these things. And yeah, if
It's
you're,
not the same company when I was a kid. That's for
you
sure.
know,
But now I go back and we were talking about predictive programming. If you look at some of those weird old Disney cartoons, there's some weird shit in there. Even the ones that we watch, like with Donald Duck and Mickey, like it's a little wild.
dude,
It's
did
weird
you
that they
watch
lost the copyright of Mickey.
did you watch that
He's
Iron Man cartoon I sent you?
yeah, yeah,
I was
weird,
like,
eh?
what? It's basically, for anybody that doesn't know, it was a clip from a 1990s cartoon series. It looked like G.I. Joe at first, but it was Iron Man. And they're talking about uh, flying planes or destroying New York City. And you see shots of the Twin Towers getting hit by missiles. And then you see a plane flying into the Pentagon. And I'm like, what? This was in the 90s, dude. I was like, this is nobody noticed this. It was, and I
So
don't know
like,
how.
I wonder, and I'm going to ask the chat this as well. I don't know how many are left, but is this them? Like, how it cannot be possible that there are writers who know that this is going to happen and wrote about it. That's not. I can't buy that. That there are these writers who know and able to keep it secret that they're going to fuck with the Twin Towers or any of this shit. So is it? How is it that reality is revealing itself? What is happening there? Is it art imitating life? Is it life imitating art? Is it like Matt from Quantum says that it's like it has to give itself away? Well, what is
Yes,
going on there?
that's
I
what
don't
I've read.
understand it.
That's what I've
I
read.
don't
And
understand.
there's certain things that need to be there. It's almost like a ritual law that in order to carry out certain events, they have to at least indicate that it's going to happen. And I read it more along the lines of it's kind of like a ritualism to, like, for example, oh, I don't even remember the name of the guy. You always remember the names. Bobby remembers the names. But there was a guy that was killed, like a pope that was killed exactly 33 days. The 33rd day that he was in office, he was assassinated. It's all like this symbolism type of thing. The 33, I mean, that's not coincidence. There's dates that line up. I don't know. I think after so many coincidences, I mean, don't you think that there's a little intentional planning in some of these things? These shows, the Simpsons. You've seen all those memes where the Simpsons predicted Donald Trump coming down the escalator, things like that. Isn't that a little too coincidental?
They have the 9/11 one in The Simpsons where Bart is going to buy tickets to New York, and there's the Twin Towers, and it says 9, and then it has the Twin Towers, so it's 9/11, and
Yeah.
he's like, for $9? Yeah, like, yeah, I get it. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I really don't. I know what you're saying about how it's like a karmic law where they have to tell you what they're going to do, and we accept it, but I don't know. I don't know. It just seems.
Look at the way people are handling it now. Like it was indicated before the thing happened, and what do we do afterwards when it does happen? Instead of like saying to ourselves like something is really wrong here, people are taking pictures of it and making memes of it. That's how we react. I mean, that's how some people react. It's I don't know. It's a little audacious. Arwen said 9/11 was a plan that was known ahead of time by tons of people. They were allowed or even ordered to put it in fiction media. I agree with Arwen on that. 9/11 predictive programming goes back several decades before it happened. That I would not be surprised. I don't know. I just think it's preposterous the way some folks have taken it and and just made a meme of it and put it on TikTok. That's my thought.
That's all they do now. I don't know.
Don't worry about the fact that thousands of people died, but it's funny to put on TikTok. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like we were programmed
No, I do.
to act this way.
Yo, Flat Earth, how's it going? No, I get it. I don't know.
Then anyways, that's just me venting. You don't have to react. No higher priorities possible than taking a selfie when a terrible event occurs. Yeah. I always think of that too. When you see these YouTube videos or Facebook Live videos where I saw one just a couple weeks ago from Conroe, Texas, where a person was trapped in a truck and a man was trying to help him get out. And you hear a woman like, break the windshield, do this. And she's shouting all this.
I seen that.
What are you doing, bitch? You're just sitting there holding the phone while your husband's about to drown, helping another person about to drown. Put the phone down and go help. What is wrong with you? That's our culture. Grab the phone and just start filming because that's going to save their life. Anyways, I'm getting passionate about this.
It's weird. I know. I get what you're saying. I just
put the phone down. Okay. How's Charlie doing?
I think my dog wants to go in. I think he wants to go in.
That's okay because my two dogs are banging at the back door. They want to come inside, so we may as well.
Yeah, we should probably. Yeah, that was nice. It was an hour and a half almost. It was a good talk, I think. Touched on some good stuff.
Fast. Everybody got to throw in their opinion. Flat Earth Sage just got here, but we're about to peace out, Flat Earth. And
sorry, bud.
That's okay. We'll do it again next week. How's that?
Yeah, we can do it Wednesday or Thursday. Don't matter.
I'll let you know when I'm off.
I think I'll be good. Yeah, okay. Tomorrow is hopefully it goes well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with asking everybody to just pray for each other, I think. Everybody I know has a private life, but you know what? Everybody's going through something, whether they're talking about it or not. So we'll just keep each other in our thoughts and, we'll talk about it next week.
Sounds good. All right.
All right, brother. Good nice talking to you. And good seeing everybody in chat.
Peace out, everyone. Later.